Hi there, I'm Kevin. I provide tips and tricks for the PooLin, primarily EOX, because that's what I have, but a lot of the videos are for also the EOM and EOV. What we're going to go through today is I'm setting up my custom hoops for the Maggie Frames, magnetic frames, and I kind of want to go through how I've set up mine and share a file with what I feel is correct for at least the EOX model, but probably close for the EOM and EOV as well. When you're looking at your screen, when you go into the config option here, you're going to have your frame that you can select. When you select in here, you're going to have all the built-in ones that come up first. Then you're going to have what's called custom. When you click on custom, it's going to have different frames in here. The different frames that are here are actually stored. If you go back to the hamburger menu here and then go to parameters, and then in parameters you're going to have a frame section. These are all of your, so these are all your built-in ones. You'll see all the built-in names here. Then when you go into custom, you're going to see up to 10 different custom frames that you can have. So these are all the ones that I have there now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the ones I currently have. Okay, I just did this one, so I'm going to save that one. I'm going to make that my first frame because that's my smallest frame. That's my 5.1 by 5.1. Right now I have on my machine my 6.9 by 6.9, and we'll go through and we'll do that one and add that into the system. All right, so as you can see, I've gone through and I removed all of them, leaving only my 5.1 by 5.1 frame. It shows a lot less, and we'll go over why that is. But let's add the 6.9. All right, so I've hooped my frame with just some cutaway stabilizer, and now I'm going to get ready to go through the process of adding a new frame. So back on your screen here, under config, under the hoops or frames, you're going to see under custom, you're going to have add size. So if you click on add size here, it's going to have square, rounded, and circle. I'm going to say square, and I'm going to show you how to make the changes appropriately for the Maggie frames. So I'm going to click next. It's going to say press OK to find the absolute origin. Press OK. Okay, so now we're at the first stage. And I'll show you what the bed looks like. All right, so here we're going to want to align it. So you can see my red light there, or my laser. It's going to do it off of needle number 1. So what I do is I push the foot right completely down, and I switch to a slower movement on the bed, pushing the middle section there. And then I just hold it down until I feel like it's close, but not too close. It's a comfortable distance. To the side. And I feel that that's close enough without getting too close to the frame and risking hitting it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click next, and it's going to go to the second stage. This button here looks like a play button right in the middle. That's for slow. If I press it again, that's for fast. So the bed will move faster, whichever way, X or Y axes. And if I press it in the middle again, it'll go back to the regular one play button, and that'll be a slow mode for X or Y axes. So right now I want to go into faster mode, and I'll move it into position for getting the top number. All right, so now this one here, when you push it all the way back, there's more space that it requires on the back of your needle, because that's where you have your the end of your needle rod coming down. So you have to leave room for that. So I'm going to move it close enough that I feel that it's not going to hit any of these ridges that are on the Maggie frame. And it's close, but not too close. Okay. And I feel that that's a safe distance away. Okay, and then back up on the screen. I'm going to click next. Now it's going to go to the next step in the process. Okay, and the same thing. The needle bar comes down a little bit more on the right side. So I want to make sure that this clears any of the little ribs on the Maggie frame here. Just give a little bit of a clearance. I feel that that's a safe distance away. Okay, and I'm going to click next. And it goes to the last step in this process. Okay, and the front is actually the least amount of space that is required because it has just a little needle hole that's there. And you just want to get this as close as you can without causing any risk of it hitting the frame itself. Okay, that's about it. Okay, I'm going to click next here. Now it's going to give you a summary screen, so it's going to show you exactly what the settings are from the y-axis and the x-axis. Right now I have a width of 133 millimeter and a height of 130 millimeter. Gives me my middle for both x and both y, which is correct, 86. Y says minus 11. It's actually pretty close. It's minus 10, which is the absolute middle. So I'll change that in the other settings. So with the width being 133 and the height being 130, that is the difference between the back of the actual needle rod space that you need to have. It's an extra 3 millimeters that, based off of the numbers here, that I'm required for that. I do gain a little bit by having the front side, but that's why the two numbers are different and they're not the same. Even though it's 6.9 and 6.9, you still have to make the extra space for the back of the needle rod. So I'm going to click Save here. Okay, now if I were to go back into my parameters and go back to Frame and click on Custom, I'm going to have two now. One is my 5.1 by 5.1, and then my next one is 6.9 by 6.9. Now that's part where I said just make it square. That's your R number that's here. That should be, I'm going to put 15 in, and what that does is it just rounds the corners, which is what you'll see on the inside of your Maggie frame. Again, you're always going to go through and you're going to trace out your design, but that does take into consideration that the corners are slightly rounded. Not as rounded as it would be if you did select the round frame, which it compensates way too much. Okay, and then this is where I can make that change for the absolute middle. I'm going to make that 11. I'm going to make it to 10. And you got to make sure it's click on minus and click OK. And then now that one's set up. So you'll see my 5.1 was 89 on the x-axis, and on the y-axis it was 85. Again, that shows you the difference between keeping that space on the back of the needle head. Great, I'm going to continue doing all of my frames, and then I'll give you a summary of my frames that I have, as well as what the spaces are, and give you a conclusion as to what I feel the space that you have to take away from your maybe other sizes that I don't have, just as a general rule of what you should kind of accommodate for that, and what they should be close to. All right, I finished adding all my hoops. So now if you look into my custom frame section, you're going to see my 5.1 by 5.1, my 6.9 by 6.9, my 8.5 by 9, which is that one there. Then it goes to, I have an odd sized one. This one here is my 7.6 by 2.7, and that one looks like this here. And that's good for arms and such. And then my largest hoop that I have here is my 10.5 by 12.4 on there. So if I were to look at my parameters, go to frame, go to custom. These are the numbers that are currently set up. If you have to change or slightly change anything, you just click into it and you would make that change. Just make sure if it's a negative, so say for that one it was 10, I just make sure I hit the plus minus, and then it gives it a 10, clicks OK. 86 is the center, minus 10 should be the center for Y. Then these all depend on the unit, or the size of the frame itself. And then the rounded part on the edge, I put 15 for all of them, except for this one. This one would not allow me to do 15. Even if I hit 5, it puts 4. If I try to hit anything else, it won't. So I think it's a maximum of 14 is forcing me. So yeah, and that's my smaller frame there. That is it's hard to see the size of it. 7.6 by 2.7. Okay, I'll put this on a spreadsheet or take a picture of it and then share that as well. So you guys can either copy if you have the same frames I have, and we'll go from there. I hope today's video was helpful and gave you some ideas to how you set up your magnetic hoops, especially for Maggie Frames. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.